Well, we've been talking a lot about the situation in Ukraine and the impact on the global markets. But when you break it down and really drill down to the numbers, it's easy to see why the situation could have a lasting impact. Here's Sean Phipps.
It's all about Ukraine these days. And while I know you have been inundated with information, here are some facts that may have been overlooked and I have found interesting. First, many of us are just learning the geography of Ukraine. For example, I have seen this map several times showing the relative size of Ukraine compared to the U.S. The only problem with this map for me is the latitude's all wrong. Ukraine is much farther north. In fact, a better illustration would be something like this. While its continental weather is controlled by different airflows and distance from water than other similar regions, this higher latitude determines the length of days. Ukraine, like Canada, has only recently become a corn and soy export competitor, but was the breadbasket of Europe for centuries because of their enormous grain production, mostly wheat. Ukraine has about 2/3 of the richest soils in continental Europe. It's called Chernozem. It's that black, thick, and high in phosphorus and organic matter. The gradual change in cropping from small grains like wheat to corn is a response to changing climate, just like here in the northern Great Plains and the Grand Prairies of Canada. But as the weather has been warming significantly for the last few decades, precipitation has decreased, making drought a little more likely in any given year. Ukrainian productivity made it a target for Joseph Stalin in 1929 when he ordered the forced collectivization of millions of small farms. Then, as output dropped, they confiscated grain from the farms with the Soviet military. The Holodomor, or Great Famine, was the worst man-made disaster at the time, causing as many as 7 million deaths directly from starvation in 1932 and 33. Stalin was determined to end private land ownership and break the power of independent peasants. Late in the 20th century, the collectives were abandoned and land redistributed in small patches to descendants. Village residents usually band together and rent the acres from former collective farms to larger operators, boosting ag efficiency even with this very splintered ownership. Finally, during its golden age from about 800 to 1100 AD, Ukraine and Kiev specifically became one of the most powerful states in Europe. Many of their elite ruling class were descendants of Scandinavian Vikings who traded all the way down the Dnieper to Odessa in the Middle Ages. This remarkable past is reflected in the character of Ukrainians today.
Thanks, John. Remember, if you have questions or comments for John, just email him. That's mailbag@usfarmreport.com. All right, when we come back, Machinery Pete. He has tractor tales this weekend. That's next.
U.S. Farm Report is brought to you by Firestone Ag. The Firestone Ag Dealer Network offers you the support, inventory, and resources you need. Visit firestoneag.com to find your local certified dealer.